Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again. I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine Extra, where we review the very latest in theatrical movies. Each week, my co-hosts Christopher Slattery and Christopher G. Moore will take a look at various action, sci-fi, and animated genre offerings. Tonight, we're reviewing the Super Mario Brothers movie. Wahoo! Unfortunately, Christopher G. Moore can't be with us. He got a last-minute offer to go see Bruce Campbell live on his show, so you can't blame him for that. But he did enjoy the film, so I'll throw that out there. Maybe not as much, or maybe not as less than us. We'll find out. All right, but with me tonight is my co-host, the SLATTMAN, the one and only Chris Slattery. How you doing, sir?
Well, I'm better than King Bob-omb.
Okay. That was a funny cameo. All right. Okay. We're going to get into the Super Mario Brothers. We're going to give you our first impressions. Those first impressions will be spoiler free. And then we'll get into the discussion and we'll get into spoilers. There really isn't spoilers. It's Mario Brothers. And if you've played the game, you know everything. And then we'll give you our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. And we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others we have on the site. And if you do, please hit the like, subscribe, share with a friend buttons. It's easy for you to do it. It helps us find more movie fans just like you. Now, before we get into the card and everything, we need to get a little background. Now, I'm not a gamer. I've played some games, but I had Pong back in the day. But I did play Mario Brothers, but I also played was it Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. All the the Donkey Kong games, which had Mario running up the the deal. So Mario has been in my life, and of course, growing up with various kids in my family, they loved it too. But I'm not really into everything. I think the last one I actually played was Mario's Sunshine or something like that. Is that right?
I don't know. That is a game, but I don't know if it's the last one you played.
I don't know if I played any after that. I just didn't know if it was called Mario Sunshine or something.
Oh yeah, there is Mario Sunshine.
And so that's the end. But still, you will get my opinion on this movie from that perspective. Now, Christopher Slattery, I would imagine the SLATTMAN has a slightly different perspective. Tell me your background with Mario.
I've been a gamer for going on 30 some years, and actually my first console was, I believe, your NES that you gave me.
It might be. Oh my God.
I have very fond memories of first memories I have of playing Mario and Mario 2 and Mario 3 with you on your NES. Yes. So
Yep. And that was when it was just running across the screen.
Yeah. On a big old fat TV that's heavier than 3-year-old SLATTMAN.
Oh my God, I remember that TV. Yeah. So, and of course, you've probably played far many more than I have. I mean, I think there's like Paper Mario, and then there's Mario Kart. I have played Mario Kart. Mario Kart is that before or after Mario Sunshine? I don't know.
Before, but the best ones came after.
Okay. Well, I have played those. And I do like Mario Kart. And when we get into reviewing this movie, I will gleam on some of those. Of course, sorry to belabor the point, but of course, the movie did phenomenal, making, I think, the best animated taking. And
I know that it is the best one since it has matched and is it superseded? I guess that's the right word. It has done better than Frozen 2. And that is the biggest one, I think, in the last decade for animated. So
it's made 377 million worldwide on its opening weekend, which is amazeballs.
It's honestly, like, I think 200 of that was domestic, and I'm surprised Japan didn't go and do another 100 million just by themselves
I know.
in China. So
So I would imagine it's safe to say we're going to get another one.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
right.
I mean, spoilers. It came out like, I think Thursday. Like, so the movie opened on Wednesday and it came out on Thursday. That they've been developing the sequel for months already.
Oh, nice! I did not know that. That's awesome.
So
yeah, so we're gonna discuss Chris Pratt, whether or not he succeeds as playing Mario, and some of the other actors playing the voices. So let's get into it. Let's start off with the card and jump right in. Super Mario Brothers movie 2023, Universal Pictures, along with Illumination and Nintendo, of course, available in theaters beginning April 7th, 2023. Directed by Aaron Horvath, Michael Jelenic, Pierre Leduc, and Fabien Polack. Oh my God. Written by Matthew Fogel. The cast includes Chris Pratt, Charlie Day, Jack Black, Keegan-Michael Key, Anya Taylor-Joy, Seth Rogen, Fred Armisen, and Keegan-Michael Richardson, among others. And the synopsis, well, this is straight out of the shows we used to do. The story of Super Mario Brothers on their journey through the Mushroom Kingdom. It is, it's more than that, but not much.
Yeah, there's not much there.
You might be surprised. It might be a love story.
No, maybe not the one you're expecting.
But let's start off with our first impressions. SLATTMAN, please let me know what you thought of the Super Mario Brothers.
So I think a big thing to enjoying this movie is having the right expectations. This movie is not going to be a Miyazaki masterpiece. It was never intended to be a Miyazaki masterpiece. It is not going to be a Pixar movie that is an animated film made for kids with adults in mind. This is an animated film made for kids.
Of all ages.
Yeah. But primarily, it is an animated film made for kids. And I would argue it is an animated film made for kids more so than Minions.
Wow.
Like,
that's an interesting thing to consider. Yeah.
Yeah. It is the most made for kids primarily thing that Illumination has ever made. But because of that, they have made the most fun, I think, movie that they've ever made. But that's not really saying much because Illumination's made like one good movie.
Oh
no. I'm not a big so a lot of my dislike for this movie actually comes from the fact that I don't like the studio behind it. I've never really been an Illumination fan. I think most of their movies are very cheap. A lot of their movies are very redundant. A lot of their movies kind of fall back onto the same jokes over and over again. And I mean, I'm not a huge fan of some of the art direction and some of the animation choices that they went with, because that's just Illumination standard. But I will say that everything else about it is just fun. As long as you're not expecting something that's deep, something that's amazing, something that's Oscar worthy. If you're just expecting something that's going to be, a good old time, a fun movie to watch, this is a great time. I have a couple notes here that are not spoiler. Jack Black is 100% the best part of this movie.
Yes.
And no one will tell me no other voice actor comes even close. And this is really just a love letter to Nintendo and Mario. I think that you could find new references and Easter eggs on your 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and maybe even 15th viewing. There's so much love and care put into this movie, and that's really what allows it to excel.
Okay.
I can't really say much more without getting into spoilers.
Yeah. Well, what spoilers there are. All right. I'm gonna toss this back and say absolutely adored this movie. I loved it. I had the best time. And as a grumpy, get off my lawn adult, this brought a lot of joy into my life. I had a great time. And I was thinking like, okay, do I like Illumination films? Yeah, I'm not a Despicable Me fan, and I don't really like the Minions. But I saw Sing 2, and that was really good. I really like Sing 2. And of course, Secret Life of Pets is pretty popular as well, right?
The first one is loved. The second one is not good.
Is that true?
Great.
And
I will openly admit I have a soft spot for the Sing movies.
I was not expecting to like that.
I think you watched it with me, actually, Sing 2.
That might be true. That might be when you came down.
Yeah.
Now the Lorax and the Grinch are movies I enjoyed, but I have the original. Okay, back to what we're talking about. Yes, Jack Black and Charlie Day are spot on for their voices, and having Jack Black just, and I would say Seth Rogen too, as Donkey Kong. The voices overall, I will say all of them hit the note, and we'll talk about the one that everybody was complaining about here in a short bit. But I was sucked in. I was a little nervous at first because of the real life part, or real life, not real life, but the on Earth Brooklyn part. But it didn't take long for me to get into it. And then once they get into the Mushroom Kingdom and stuff, and it has some great moments in it that just made me smile. I laughed out loud. I actually recognized some of the references. I thought the music choices were really fun. The music itself is really strong as well. The animation is great. I
would argue the animation is great when you're in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, well, I would say, yeah, when you're not in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
When you're not in Brooklyn. And that's what I think is what I was kind of mentioning before. The Brooklyn part had me a little worried, but once you get into the fantasy elements, and I would say I don't know of any of the fantasy elements that didn't work. It's weird saying because it's entirely animated, but you know what I mean. The Mushroom Kingdom, the Donkey Kong Kingdom. I guess it's Jungle Kingdom. I don't know what they call it, but anyway, I absolutely adore this movie. Had a great time. I can't wait to see it again. I can't wait to see more. I'm a fan. I am I'm the best. I just can't believe how much I liked it. Let's put it that way. I can't believe how much I enjoyed this movie. I thought I was going to groan because it was like 90 minutes, which is going to be like, okay, that's a good thing and a bad thing is, it's going to be short enough that if it's bad, it's not going to hurt. But if it's really good, it's not going to be long enough. But I think it was the perfect time. So, but we got to get into spoilers. And I think the first spoiler we got to get into really isn't a spoiler, but more of a controversy. And that, of course, is Chris Pratt. And
I 100% blame the person who made the trailer.
That might be, well, out of context, it is a legit argument, I think, out of context. But in context of the movie, it's everybody was so wrong. And I love that they addressed it right up front, whether that was post or pre. I thought that was a great way to kind of let you pull back on the voice, because I've heard a lot of people saying since it come out that if you had that voice, because you do hear the voice, and the voice, and a matter of fact, you hear the person that did the voice originally. But in addition, but if you had that voice through the entire movie, I think it might have drove us nuts. So I am saying, everything aside from Chris Pratt as a human, his portrayal as Mario was great. I loved it. I thought he was great.
I thought he was fine. He was not bad. He was just fine. I would say that most of the cast was honestly just fine. Like, and I don't know if it was just the context didn't allow for a more in-depth vocal performance, or maybe a lot of these people just aren't very good vocal actors, and they just kind of played themselves as voices, you know?
Yeah, and the ones that do know how to do vocal, because Jack Black, of course, did a great job. Fred Armisen does a great job, and I thought Seth
Yeah.
Rogen did too. Did you not like Seth Rogen?
I did not really like Seth Rogen.
Oh, I thought he was great.
I will say though, oh god, I'm trying to find Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah.
I thought his voice for Toad was really good, mostly because in the games Toad's voice is so obnoxiously shrill, and he wasn't obnoxiously shrill in the movie.
But yet it was him.
Yeah,
right? It sounded like him. Yeah, I don't even I would say you'd be hard pressed to recognize who it actually was doing the voice, because he's doing a voice. He's doing voice acting. Anya Taylor-Joy, I think, is perfect for Peach, but
sounded just like Anya Taylor-Joy.
Peach doesn't really require much, and Peach gets a much different role in here than she does in the games, because and Luigi, unfortunately, you get swapped out for the damsel in distress, if you do air quotes around it.
The brother in distress.
The brother in distress, which might be my only complaint, because I think the chemistry between Chris Pratt as Mario and Charlie Day as Luigi really worked, and when they're on screen together, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
especially in the finale.
We also, I mean, Luigi doesn't get any time with like any of the Mushroom Kingdom people as well. So it would be fun, hopefully, when the sequel comes out. You know, spoilers. I guess we are in spoiler land.
We are in spoilers.
You know,
when
the sequel comes out, it'll be fun to have Luigi, like kind of interacting with Princess Peach, with Toad, with the Kongs. Like, it'll be fun to have that.
Yep. And we did get some nods to Luigi's Mansion, but not as much as we will get, right?
Yeah. The next one better have like a full-on like Professor Egad in the vacuum. I have to give some props to some of the minor roles, though, because I think some of these minor roles are probably some of the more memorable voices to me. The Penguin King.
Yes, the Penguin King.
The Lumen that was all dread and gloom.
Is that the blue guy?
Yeah, the blue floaty guy.
Yes. Oh my god, that was perfect. It was so perfect in the scenario he's inside the castle, inside of Bowser's castle.
Yes. And Kamek, the wizard Koopa. Like, just, I loved those voices. I loved those roles. I loved those characters. I thought those characters were so fun, and we got just the right amount of each one for this movie. I think
so. I mean, there's a lot in here, and without taking away from the main characters. And I think we're both in agreement that the story itself is very straightforward. It is Luigi's in trouble, got to go save him, help Peach, go get Donkey Kong.
Well, there's a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I mean, there is like this weird, well, if you've seen the song, Peach,
there is a love triangle. And it is a love triangle that you would have never expected.
But it is so funny. Oh
it's
my God.
Also really funny because that was a major plot point from the newest Mario game, Mario Odyssey.
Really?
Yes, like the whole point of Mario, or one of the big things from Mario Odyssey, is that Bowser kidnapped Peach to marry her, and you had to fly from world to world, and you eventually landed on the moon, where there was this giant freaking chapel that they were supposed to get married at, and Mario comes in and is like, I object, but didn't actually say I object. And yeah, so the costume that Bowser has, the hat and everything, yeah, that's from the newest Mario game, and that was such a cool thing to see.
There's only one reason I know anything about that, and that's because Jacob went with me, Jacob Rotten, and he had a blast with it, and he told me about that. He said that the only thing that they changed that rubbed him a little bit the wrong way, but he was still fine with it, was that who's the Donkey Kong's father?
Not Cranky Kong in
Cranky
the
Kong.
games.
Yeah, Cranky Kong. But he was saying that Cranky Kong was his grandfather.
Yeah, that's why I said not Cranky Kong in the games.
I mean, it works. And he said, well, maybe Donkey Kong Jr. became Cranky Kong. I don't know. That's like, whatever. I don't know what you're saying, but it all worked for me because I had no idea. But even what's the other Kong that got a quick shout out?
Diddy
Kong, yes.
And
Kong.
Trixie Kong was there too, and the other Kong, I don't remember his name off the top of my head. That was really fun to see.
Yeah, the Diddy Kong thing. I knew what it was when they said it, but I couldn't tell you that without saying it. I mean, there's so much I loved about this. The whole, but I will say that for me, I mean, as much as I was enjoying the Mushroom Kingdom part of it, it really took off for me when the Donkey Kong battle came into play, and from there on, I was totally on board.
I will say though, I was on board from the moment that we got to Mushroom Kingdom, to Toad Town, and Toad was leading Mario through the town and seeing like all the like references and stuff. But I did not like the introduction of like real world music.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was. I mean, there's one song I was kind of about, but the rest of them I loved. I thought they were great. You know, Mr. Blue Sky and Take on Me. Right?
I did not like Take on Me. That was my least favorite one. That made absolutely no sense to me why it was there.
I don't know. I dug it. And then what was Holding Out for a Hero, right?
Yeah. See, that one makes sense though.
Yeah. And then of course they used the Tarantino song, the dun dun dun.
Yeah, and then they had what is it, the oh god, the when they were in Brooklyn, it was
I forget.
I can't remember the name of the song.
Yeah.
But that one had a reason too. Like there was a reason behind that. Like,
yeah, I enjoyed it, but I will say that the actual music for the
yes, the actual orchestrated.
Oh my god, it was great. It had all the right notes, all the right beeps and boops.
It felt like Mario music. It was awesome.
But it was like strings.
Yeah. But I think this is a really good time to poorly transition to I think was the best part about this movie, and I think what we need to spend a lot more time talking about than what we've talked about before. I thought the action scenes were so well done, so well animated, so well directed, so well like storyboarded. Like everything was so good. You could clearly see what was going on. All of the animation was so fluid and everything just made sense, and there was a purpose behind everything, from the original jumping and stuff going through the Brooklyn streets.
Yes, like the yes.
Yep, all the way to the very end when Donkey Kong and Mario are teaming up to get to where the stuff is happening up at the Bowser's thing.
And Luigi and Mario at the end with the star.
Yeah, and then the very, very end. Yes. like I thought.
And I'm sorry, I can't believe you didn't mention the kart race.
Well, yeah, I was saving that for later. But I'm so surprised at how well all of those scenes were done. Like they looked so fluid. The power-ups and everything looked so great. The implementation of them looked so awesome. And the variety, like they didn't just stick with, just one. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like every scene had a different power up to it to spice it up. So
Yep, we got well, we got the cat, we got the raccoon tail, right?
yeah, the Tanuki suit.
The tanuki suit. We got the shrinking, and we got the
Yeah.
large one, and we got the fireball, sort of.
And the ice. Yeah, we got the fireball with we got the fireball a couple times, but that was, that was I'll give them that. But then we got the ice flower too.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, during the wedding. Yeah, that worked out really well. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed this movie. It's I am so surprised. I thought it was going to be a meh film. Like, all right, that was fine. But no, this surprised me as much, if not more. Well, I don't know if it did more than the Sonic movie.
I think the Sonic movie is a better movie, but I think the Mario movie is a better is a more enjoyable film.
I might go with you on that, but I was but I enjoyed the Sonic movies as well.
I don't know. I love the Sonic movies too. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I think that's how I feel about it. I think, star wise, the Sonic movie probably deserves more stars because I think it's a better structured film, a better made film, your traditional film stuff. But the Mario movie is one I'm probably going to be more willing to go and rewatch because it's just, I think, more fun.
Yeah. You might have me on that. All right. We could keep going, but we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to give you our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. Don't steal mine.
Go. Oh, I probably will. So my favorite, I don't think this is a particularly great movie or a great film, like a traditional film. It's very like it suffers from some structure issues. It's very fast paced. It has very little explanation. There's just enough character development there to make a cohesive bow on a story, but it's not very deep. But that's not where this movie shines. This movie shines in its world. This movie shines in the Mushroom Kingdom. This movie shines in its giant set pieces to show off Mario. And in those times, I think it really excels, especially when you've got the orchestrated score behind it. You've got all of the fun power-ups. You've got all of the fun little Easter eggs and stuff then going on behind it and everything. That's where it's really great. When it's trying to do plot, it's just bare bones plot. And it's kind of forgettable, but it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know if I could quote any of the dialogue that isn't just, wahoo.
Yeah, or that lumen that just
the lumen had the best dialogue, absolutely. Yeah. Although we didn't say Jack Black sings, and it's great. It's marvelous.
I was not expecting it when I saw it. Just, side tangent. I was not expecting that when I saw it. I had no idea it was coming. I did not know that there was a musical number. At first I was like, what am I watching? And then about halfway through, I was just like, this is hilarious.
You might be watching perfection is what you might be watching.
And that was the moment that I was actually sold on Jack Black as Bowser.
Yeah, I would also say it's probably the only time you actually hear Jack Black's voice kind of come through.
Yeah.
In the song. But anyway, we totally derailed your score and your favorite scene.
Yeah. But taking aside, plot structure, weird use of real music, etc., etc. As a film lover, I have to give it an objective score, but I'm going to give it 2 scores.
Okay.
I'm going to give it the objective score, and then I'm going to give it how I actually feel the emotional score. The emotional score. The objective score, I think it's like a 3.5, 3.75.
I think that's fair.
Like it's as a kids movie, it does exactly what it needs to. but it's not going to be something that wins an Oscar. It's not going to be something that, well, it might win an Oscar. It might win best. It might be nominated for best
What's
original song.
Oh my God, that'd be so.
It's eligible, Peaches. But emotionally, this is like a 4.5, 4.75. Like I really, really enjoyed it. It's not a 5 because I absolutely hated like Take on Me. I wish we had gotten something more akin to like Donkey Kong music instead of Take on Me there, because it just took me out of the movie fully.
Okay.
Like,
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
And my favorite scene is when they're picking the carts.
Ah, damn you did take my scene.
And they roll up in their different carts. Donkey Kong's got his big barrels. Mario's got the traditional Mario. Peach has got the motorcycle. And then Toad rolls up in the big monster truck. And it's like...
Oh man, I just love the whole thing about when they're selecting them and they're pushing all the things, just like in the game,
yes.
right? And they're making the cart, and the guys up there going, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. But I will go ahead and say I want to give you my favorite set piece though, action set piece.
Okay.
Since we both have the same favorite scene, because I think we might have different favorite set pieces. My favorite set piece is actually when Peach is using the ice power up.
Yes. Yeah, I will give you that. That was actually excellent. I'm just going to go straight for a 4.75. This movie totally won me over, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It isn't flawed as a structured movie, was sure, but as a kids movie, I will say that I was in a full theater. It was about half kids, and every single person, young, old, was glued to the screen. Everybody was, there was no, daddy, can I go this? Daddy, can I go? Everybody was, people were having a great time and people were laughing, and you could hear people scream out the names of, things that showed up and things. So I think for what this movie needed to do for the audience, it was after it did it perfectly. So my favorite scene, if it's not going to be that, it's going to be when they land on Rainbow Road, and it's from Rainbow Road to the part where the poof it comes out and they're flying. It's just the two of them flying off, just like in the game. Absolutely thought they captured it. I was a little worried about that but Rainbow Road's my least favorite one to play. But I thought it was like so well realized, and of course, that's when they do the battle on Rainbow Road, and it was just I was smiling ear to ear during that whole thing, and it was, they brought in the elements of the game naturally without feeling forced, and it made sense. And the whole thing of, if the one line I did like, we're talking about lines, it was like, all right, everybody, let's get some carts. It leads up to the whole scene. So you can see kind of where my love for the movie kind of really originates out of that. Didn't know I loved Mario Kart as much as I did. But action sequence alone, which one do I choose? I thought I had forgotten what happens when they hit the star. For some reason, I had forgotten that the star makes them invincible. And when they hit the star, Mario and Luigi, and they go after everything, and they're just like jumping off bills and everything, and all the I was just like, wow. And I was, I said I was dreading. I didn't really like the Brooklyn part, but I thought in the end they really nailed it right there, and it was, I was like, oh, of course. Why did I forget that?
That was that was great, especially like that scene also being like right there, right after Luigi like comes and saves Mario with the big manhole cover and stuff.
Yes.
And then,
yeah.
The emotion,
that,
like that's like there's just enough emotional attachment like there, and like just enough character development, especially with the bond with the two brothers, like, and that's really where it all pays off.
I will say the funniest scenes is when everybody was in the in the castle, in Bowser's castle, and that blue thing was just being so happy and dour at the same time. And everybody's like, "Oh no, shut up!" It's like all the, even like all the Kongs and everything were all trying. It was, I laughed my butt off. Good stuff. All right, well, we could just keep going if we don't careful. So let's go ahead and wrap this up now. There you go for a Gruesome magazine extra. Let us know what you think about having them like this. And let us know what you think of Donkey Kong. I want a Donkey Kong movie now. What did you think of the Super Mario Brothers movie down below? And what other films coming out this year would you like us to cover in this manner? Slatman, thank you so much for joining me. This was, of course, a lot of fun.
It was, one King Bob-omb Blast.
That
great.
The whole thing with that was hilarious. That was like, yeah, I'm going to shut up because I keep going. Thank you for joining us. Say good night.
Good night.